Now, what does this mean? Will Adani have to face scrutiny now in Kenya? And likewise, if he faces scrutiny in Kenya, there are other nations also where he's trying to increase the footprints of his trade and his projects. So will those projects also be under scrutiny if there are similar, cases in the court?
No. As far as Kenya is concerned, most probably when the project details come out in the open, the project will be abrogated. You see, and so will the airport, because people will get wiser with time. They will realize what they have been doing here, and it will not happen over there. So, and the other thing is, say, you take in Sri Lanka also. The new president he campaigned on this, that this 500 megawatt so-called green energy plant, we will not go through it if I come to power. So there also, so ultimately they should, you never know, learn their lessons, that if you are going to export this corrupt model abroad, you will get uncovered, and your money that you invest by way of getting the sanctions and preparing the documents and all that will go to waste. So then they will confine themselves to India. Definitely, this is not an exportable model, because any country which has got a thinking, it is not rocket science, it is mere calculation. What I am talking about, if you reduce it to a paper, a cost accountant and a good chartered accountant can uncover wherever this type of corruption is there. See, I'm reminded of my earlier Cogentrix case, which I was arguing. There was one very good thing, whatever one may say. I mean, this foreign investment in power was the brainchild of none other than NKP Salve, the father of Harish Salve. So he was a chartered accountant. He understood what was going on, because we had a debate on a particular channel, and he realized what the whole tariff was dollar denominated. While promoting this, what they did was that they had Terry and a German organization and an American to vet that power project. And in the vetting, whatever report came, that was in the public domain, which I got hold of. So there it clearly said that they had increased or over-invoiced the capital cost and the energy cost by 10 and 15%, which I showed to the court, and what it would mean. Here there is no such vetting. Here they show a import coal of say 3,000 or 4,000 calorific value and show it as 6,000, and the difference in price is 3 times. They collect it as hawala. Everything is known. They pollute over here. The case is pending in Supreme Court. Nobody is taking it up. So this is what I'm saying. This is the wild west of corruption in this country. And I'm saying it with full responsibility, because I have fought corruptions which was much smaller, much less 20, 25 years back. And what has happened is they learned from that model. Okay, we can do it like this. So they mastered it. They hired very expensive lawyers. You will not believe a document which is called the PPA, Power Purchase Agreement. The lawyers to draft it take something like 100 crores. And it must be worth, it must be 150 or 200 pages. So that they tighten up all the loopholes that are there, so that there cannot be any type of challenge, and they bind you to this. See, one of the things that they objected in Kenya was that the airport is a 30-year project, and there will not be another airport within a 50-mile radius. Yes. This is what is happening in India.
No, and Law Society also said that it's a huge loss of money, job losses, and it's not value for money. This is what they pointed out.
Yes, that is the exact this thing. We don't know what is value for money. That is what is, they've used the right term. We never get value for money. The consumer doesn't get value for money. He is accustomed to being ripped off, like in his taxation, which are not efficiently spent, or roads which are not maintained. You pay 3 types of taxes. You pay taxes on petrol, you pay taxes on car, and after that you pay taxes on the toll also. and also the road tax. So,
True. But Mr. Agarwal, but does this development by the Kenya court also now raise questions on the broader implications for foreign investment and infrastructure development in Kenya? Does all that now go to a halt as far as Adani is concerned?
Kenya is not dependent on Adani or India for its development. I mean, what role have they had in developing the tourism in Masamarai and all those people, all those places? Have they done anything? I mean, the last time they tried to import 6 cheetahs from some country, African country, all of them died. So they cannot emulate what they are doing over there. There also, there are other countries which are having infrastructure at an efficient cost.
But do you think that Adani and even our government, our systems, will they learn any lessons? Do they treat it as some kind of a rebuff from another country? It's such a big embarrassment. This is what we've been discussing. But will there be any learning lessons for Modi and Adani, both of them?
No, we learn lessons every day. We have people, but will the government allow us to learn lessons? Everything is whitewashed. So, I mean, I would be very proud to have a organization like the Law Society over there, which speaks on behalf of the people. Where is the voice of the people?
When you have the civil society people speaking on behalf of the Janta, you have them jailed, then you slap cases against them. This is what happens in India.
Yes, and then the courts are there always to protect them. The laws are being made to protect Adani. You see, so many changes in laws were made deliberately, both by SEBI and both by Enforcement Directorate. One followed the other in order to camouflage the identity of the person investing on behalf of Adani's in Adani shares in India.
True.
So, I mean, when you are being corrupt, you take care of all these things. Now, first change the law, then see to it to have a friendly judge like Arun Mishra. I'm not naming him. Mr. Dushant Dave has, named him. Who can imagine that this is the level to which our judiciary will sink? So what I'm saying is that, look, we have very good people. We have competent people. But they are not allowed to function. And all these institutions and laws have been captured by the wrong type of people, which is going to do, and which is already doing, tremendous harm to the country in the long run.
Right. True.
And that is the tragedy.
One point which I missed out, and then another question, and then we'll wind up the show, that, the Law Society also has said that the public participation, which is mandatory according to their rule, has not been done. Now, public participation is taken very lightly in India, but there, the Law Society is pointing out that the public participation was mandatory and that process was bypassed. What does it really show? And public participation is actually taken very lightly in the country, at least in India.
No, it is. I mean, all these projects which were supposed to come within the area of the forest area and the villages, they were supposed to be consulted, and how money was spent, and in spite of that, the activists got in, and how the DM became the agent of the corporate and forced this thing and got all those clearances. There were quite a good number of projects which failed during the Congress regime. But this government knows how to steamroll dissent, and they are very ruthless in it. So they did that, and now the environmental clearances and all have gone for a toss. I mean, mining is taking place wherever the corporate interest lies. They get advance waiver. And that type of waiver is given to Adani's and all. In Jharkhand, they were given waivers. So all that, you see, you are making and then the Supreme Court has this peculiar thing that it is a policy decision, we will not look into it, and they should be allowed play in the joints, and the majority has spoken. We will not look into the details, how the villages protested and their voice was not heard. So where is the redressal mechanism?
True.
That is the thing that is lacking in this country.
Right, absolutely. And it really points out the gaping holes within our system, whether it's our courts, whether it is the manner in which the institutions function in our country. And in a small nation like Kenya is actually showing the mirror and also teaching a lesson to Adani. But coming to the last bit, and then I'm going to wind up the show, that if you look at this whole development in entirety, Mr. Agarwal, what would you really say? What kind of a commentary is it? And what are the big takeaways from this Kenyan court development? You were talking about the corruption model which Adani is trying to export. So I would want you to give your concluding comments.
No, the first thing that this government should do, or any government should do, is blacklist Adani from all further infrastructure project. Let all the other industrialists bid, except them, and hold an inquiry into and make all the documents where they have been given infrastructure public in the public domain, which they should have anyway done, because the consumer is paying for it directly or indirectly. Let them be scrutinized by the civil society as well as those who have judicial knowledge. And then if they find that everything is hunky-dory, again greenlist them and let them introduce them this thing. But until that happens, if you don't do this particular, don't take this drastic step, then bit by bit, all our prime properties will be colonized by the equivalent of East India Company, which did not have much to exploit, whereas now the West India Company has far greater things to exploit, the prime assets, and due to development of decades of development. So this drastic step has to be taken. There is nothing wrong. They have got enough of the Indian cake to subsist for 700 generations. What of 7 generations or 70 generations? So let them stop. Let them consolidate, and then after that, if there is let there be a due process which never took place earlier. Let there be transparency, and if they get if people come to the conclusion that they are benevolent and patriotic capitalist, go ahead, give them the entire nation.
True. Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, for joining on HW News. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was being sarcastic instead.
Stay ahead with our cutting-edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.